Hello, everybody, and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle and to my latest episode of New Album Spotlight, the show where I put the spotlight on a new album in progressive rock or related genres, one that I've been really loving and that I want to recommend to you guys. That's what this channel is all about, is finding great new music and sharing it with you and giving you an idea of what you can expect and what it sounds like and my impressions of it, my history with the band, all of that stuff, and I'm going to get into that right now with a brilliant new release that I've been absolutely loving. This is Advent Horizon's new album, Falling Together. This is out May 15th. Fantastic group that's been around a little bit of time here. Their first album came out in 2012 called Immured, then Stagehound in 2015, A Cell to Call Home in 2023, and now this new album in 2026. So a fantastic group that I learned about when A Cell to Call Home was coming out. I saw on Facebook a video for the lead single of Water, and I was just super impressed and immediately reached out to the band. The album hadn't even been released yet, and I just complimented them on the music that I heard, and they were kind enough to send me an advance copy, and I did a review. And I just love the band. They're super, great guys, really nice, really talented, and to me they're one of the best examples of the direction of the future of prog rock, and that we're in good hands, that young musicians are still making vibrant, imaginative, excellent music that sounds modern and fresh, but also delves back into the classics in a lot of ways as well, with expert musicianship, just beautiful melodies that earworm into your brain and just make you excited and happy to continue listening all over again. And that's what they do. Their music, I'd say there's somewhat of a Rush inspiration to what they do a lot of the time, if you want kind of an idea of what the sound that they're going for. This kind of heavy prog, not quite full-blown prog metal, but definitely touchstones of prog metal stuff, similar to Haken and those types of bands as well. But I feel like a very accessible melodic edge, similar to like what the Neil Morse band does in their modern brand of heavy prog. So that's right up my alley, as you know, if you know my taste from watching this channel. I love melodic, accessible, progressive rock that hooks you in with great melodies and catchy earworms, but then keeps bringing you back with complex arrangements and longer, more imaginative songs that allow room to breathe and give you a lot of different influences and different things to take you on its journey. And I think this album is a perfect personification of that. This album, based on the press release, is basically about holding your beliefs under a microscope and determining whether they are truly yours or whether they were planted there by others when you were young and impressionable. This is something really important to lead singer, guitarist, one of the main songwriters of the band, Riley McDonald. Fantastic musician. He was on the latest Cruise to the Edge, and from what I've heard, I wasn't on it myself, but I've heard he was one of the star highlights. He wasn't even one of the main headline acts on the cruise, but he got up on stage and was around a lot of other musicians and proved how talented he truly is. And he leads this band really expertly well. His writing skills, his singing skills, his guitar skills, his influences are just second to none. And I really like what he brings about. And of course, it's not just a solo work. It's a very collaborative band with a lot of different members who are equally contributing as well. Drummer Mike Lofgreen has been collaborating with Riley for quite some time, so he's kind of the joint songwriter here, the collaborator in arms. We've also got Kason Wood on all kinds of stuff: bass, fretless bass, synthesizers, electric and acoustic pianos, organs, Grant Matheson on vocals, keys, and guitars, and Kristen McDonald does some vocals here on this record as well. Fantastic female voice. There's several different vocals on this record, I believe 3 different singers throughout the record. Riley, to me, is kind of the main singer who you hear the most, but there's definitely lead parts from the other members as well, Kristen as well as Grant. And they all do a fantastic job. They have great vocal harmonies and blends. That's one of the things that I really look for and love in progressive rock. A lot of my favorite bands have multiple vocalists that can all bring in these great lush harmonies and arrangements, great vocal hooks and memorable choruses and great lyrics. Just all that really matters to me in great music, and to have it backed by just fantastic expert musicians who are playing this really complex, dense, progressive rock underneath it is just the icing on the cake. Fantastic work. I really fell in love with Cell to Call Home, their previous album, which was on my list of favorite albums of the year, of its year. It was, I think, in my top 5, and it's only risen in my estimation of it over time. So if I was to redo my list, I might have even put it a little touch higher than that. But even though I love that record so much, and it's one of my favorites that I've heard in recent years, I think this new album tops it. It's like the band kind of upping their game, going to a new level, and really putting themselves on the trajectory to be one of the biggest, most important modern prog bands on the scene. And I know that sounds like probably over the top praise, but it's earned in my opinion. I think they're one of the most promising bands that are in the modern scene, at least playing the kind of prog rock that really speaks to me personally. And I feel like I'm a unique champion of the band. I mean, there's many champions of this band, and, you know, all the different prog sites and prog YouTube channels and, you know, Prog Report and all those things are all getting behind the band because they're so excellent. And it's really heartwarming to see. And, you know, it feels especially cool when it's a band that I championed before I got influenced by all these outside factors. Like, I found the band purely on my own and did my review before I heard other people talking about them, really. And so a band close and dear to my heart, and I'm excited for their trajectory and journey. Hopefully they're part of like future prog cruises, prog festivals. They should be on every bill. I just think that we need more bands like this in the world of progressive rock who are pushing the genre forward. In A Lone and Dreary World is the first track here, in 19 minutes long. Fantastic just encapsulation of the whole band and what they're all about in that melodic rock style. So many different sections, a great journey that brings you back to those memorable choruses right at the expert times. It starts off with Riley's excellent vocals, great drums, vibey keys, acoustic guitars. The electric guitar comes in to give more weight and power to the sound here. Some more interesting keyboards get added into the texture, and it just has these sumptuous vocals and really catchy choruses, and it leads to this more harder prog metal riffing with excellent synth work, cool riffs, soaring anthemic melodies. We get a more atmospheric break with Kristen's beautiful ethereal vocals coming into this mix. Some great prog metal workouts, great guitar work and dark proggy keys, soaring guitar themes, acoustic guitar. It's just a fantastic blend of all these different things going back and forth and giving you light and shade and all of the different sounds and styles of the band. And keeps bringing back in these just expert hooks that just grab you musically and vocally. There's even a section of like harsher growling vocals, but it's very sparse and, you know, just gives that perfect weight and darkness and heaviness that it needs in that section. Ends with this cool, like, mysterious kind of vibe, cool guitar lines and great vocals, cool acoustic guitar picking. So I really love this track. If you really want to know what the band's all about, this is 19 minutes that showcases everything they are. Beautiful arrangements, great vocals, but heaviness at times, but really blended well with this great melodic prog. Fantastic work. And then we get into the shorter tracks. Faith's Window is one of my favorite tracks of the year, I have to admit. A great bluesy guitar riff starts this one off with some infectious rhythm sounds and husky vocals from Riley. Excellent chorus, one of the catchiest on the record. When it goes into that kind of falsetto vocal, it's just really a beautiful sound. Great emotion-filled guitar solo leads to a beautifully and classical-inspired piano solo before we get into some heavy guitar riffing. And it is a really cool track because it starts much more subdued and ballad-esque and lighter, but then it really ramps up in heaviness towards the end, giving this feeling of anguish and pain over the top of like heavy guitar riffs and harsher sounds, giving it that great prog metal workout and some searing synth work before it leads back to the chorus. And I think it's expertly blended where we get these harsher, like darker tones and vocals, but then Kristen brings back in the chorus with her beautiful vocals and sound, kind of contrasting the darker tone of the track throughout this section. So Fantastic work. 5.5 minutes of just pure bliss. I really love that track. Patience is another great track, a 5 minute track, very Rush inspired sound, leading to some cool rock riffs, great chorus, focused on vocals and sparser drums and acoustic guitar. This one really makes me think back to their previous record. It could have been on that record as well. Riley's vocals are once again fantastic, using that clear falsetto to excellent effect, and ramps up in heaviness with heavier instrumental sections, cool synth solos, some near prog metal chugging, and this cool instrumental build with kind of this halftime feel and building synth work. I just really like this track. It's really interesting structure, and it's really fun to listen to. Past Life Parable was the first single from the record, and it's a beautiful one. Beautiful acoustic guitars and soaring vocals from Riley. This is one of his most impressive vocal moments on the record. Another insanely catchy chorus in this one, and it really blurs the lines between this kind of anthemic rock track and almost a power ballad feel, but it gets more heavy and rocking as it goes along. Great emotional guitars. I love the acoustic guitar filled breakdown with these clever guitar lines on top of it, leading to a great synth lead full of power, and I just really love this track. It's another expert one on the track list, and of course I love every track. So Gravity 1 starts this Gravity section. Gravity 1 and 2 kind of work in tandem with each other, where the first part is more of an instrumental section, beginning with this acoustic guitar piece with some classical flavor. And I forgot to mention on the big epic track at the beginning, there's a cool acoustic guitar, flamenco guitar section as well to give an added variety and spice to that track. So I like this kind of classical acoustic guitar stuff that they're doing on this record, and it comes back in this Gravity piece here before the full band kind of brings their weight to this track as well. Just gorgeous, swirling, kaleidoscopic beauty, led by excellent melodies and really accented by that acoustic guitar lead. I really like Gravity 2, which kind of continues with the more vocal-led part of this track. Great heavy rocking feel to it. I love the chiming acoustic guitar and darker atmosphere of the midsection, and love the melody coming back at the end, the sung melody that kind of harkens back to the instrumental version in Gravity 1. Just a fantastic way to structure the track, to bring it back around and to make this a well-rounded track that's really unique and interesting on the record. Animals is the final track of the record, and ends on just a beautiful ballad, beautiful acoustic guitar, gorgeous vocals. One of the most beautiful guitar solos on the record can be found here, and when they add that kind of synth line over top of this towards the end, it's just magical, and it's just one of the most gorgeous, sumptuous ballads of the year. I just absolutely love this track, and ends the record in such a beautiful way. A Cell to Call Home ended also on kind of a more laid-back, dreamy ballad type track as well. I think that's how they like to structure their records, and it's a great cool down after some like high octane rocking stuff throughout the record. So if you couldn't tell yet, I'm an absolute fan of this record. I think it's magnificent. One of my favorite records. It's in the running for my favorite record of the year, which is saying a lot because some of my favorite bands of all time have released records that I love this year, like the Neil Morse band's Lift, Big Big Train, their album Woodcut. Fantastic records that I hold in high esteem, but this one's right on pace with those in my estimation. I just think it's that expertly crafted, and for a young band that has a much smaller discography and a much smaller history, to be able to be on that level is just remarkable, and it shows that there's a lot of promise here. Like I mentioned, like the sky's the limit. What can they do next? If their early records are this powerful and this brilliant, like, what's going to be on their next record? It's just going to be a great career to follow, and makes me excited for the future of music. When I start to get a little sad when a lot of my favorite bands are kind of getting in their older years, some leading to even retirement. One of my favorite bands, Riverside, just basically announced that they're ending, which is really sad, and I'm expecting there'll probably be other bands that I love that will be kind of hanging their hat and retiring soon. But to see that there's new bands kind of picking up the torch and having a bright future ahead, hopefully a long, illustrious career that I can follow, as, I'm getting a little older, but I'm a somewhat younger fan compared to kind of the classic prog crowd, I would say. That gives me a lot of hope and a lot to look forward to. There's several bands that are on this level, and just can't wait for the future, and so happy for the band. This is just a fantastic record. Can't recommend it heartily enough. I think pretty much anyone who watches my channel who loves melodic prog, who loves, Rush inspirations and Yes and all of the classic prog bands, but like kind of a modern sheen to it, and like love great melody, great songwriting, great beautiful vocals. Like I can't see how you cannot like this record. It's just that fantastic. So the biggest stamp of approval for me. Please check this out. Let me know in the comments if you've heard it or what you think about the band. That would be cool to see, and I'm really excited to hear your guys' opinions and thoughts. So thank you guys for joining me, and I'll hopefully catch you guys in a future episode. Enjoy the music, everybody.